All right, guys, what is going on? So I know at first glance, you guys are like, dude, that is not where Gritty Soldier normally films his videos. And you're absolutely right. It is because I am currently TDY and away from the Gritty Soldier office, what you guys would normally see on these videos. But when I do my travels, I usually bring along with me my Gritty Soldier flag, all right, just in case I need to whip it out and throw it on the wall and be so inclined to make a video for you guys. And so that's what's happening today. I have a great reason to be making content for you guys, and that is that I have just recently, this Monday actually, just a few days ago, maxed my ACFT, got a 600. Here's my scorecard. I'm gonna try to block out all the important biographical information. Hopefully that's it. I think that's good, but there it is. 600 points, baby. I maxed the 3-rep maximum deadlift, first try, too easy, right? Maxed the standing power throw with my best distance being 12.9 meters. The first throw before that was 12.8, so I maxed it twice. And that is huge for me, okay? That's always been like my kryptonite was the SBT, the dang ball throw. I could just never rely on maxing that thing, but I've actually finally cracked the code. I'm super excited about it. Got myself a staggering 59 hand release push-ups. I ended up doing a lot more, but they didn't count a bunch. I'll tell you that story here in a little bit. Crushed the sprint drag carry, got a 119, 331 for the plank, and a 12:53 for my 2-mile run. So if you can't tell already, I'm kind of like a middle schooler coming home to their parents, you know, showing off all A's on their report card. It feels pretty good. But the purpose of this video is not to show off, you know, my own individual accomplishment. No, it's really just to show you guys, like, look, this is achievable. You can max your ACFT. Oh, and by the way, I'm 38 years old, okay? So age should not be a factor for you. You can max the ACFT, and what I want to be able to do is show you guys through the proof of that, the test that I just took a few days ago, and go over with you some of the things that I did, that I made sure to do before and during the test to really make sure that I maximize my potential for success during the test. And I think these notes, these tips and tricks are going to be extremely useful to you guys. It's things that you can implement for yourself when you go out there and look to crush the ACFT. So that's what this video is going to be for. I took careful, meticulous notes of what I did before, a week before the ACFT and during the test itself, jotted it all down, made sure to keep track so that I could give this to you guys and offer it to you for your own use in the future. And before I forget, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Doing that really does help me out a lot. And it helps out with the algorithm and all that stuff. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. It shows me that you're motivated about this sort of content, and it motivates me to keep continuing to make this sort of content. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so there's two sections to these notes. I have 1 week prior. I'm going to go over the entire week, what I did to prepare for the test, and then I have what I did during test day. Now, 1 week prior, I want to divide this into 3 different sections, all right? First, we're going to talk about fitness. What did I do fitness-wise during 7 days before the test? Knowing that the ACFT is not necessarily an easy test, especially if you're going out there to actually max the thing, it's going to take a lot of energy, and it's going to take a good, primed, muscular system in order to keep up with the demands of all the test events back to back to maintain the endurance of the entire test. So I really made sure to not do any heavy lifts, no heavy gym days during that entire week. But that doesn't mean I didn't work out. I definitely still worked out. I just only focused on body weight or like really light lifts. And I focused on muscle groups that I knew I was going to be using during the ACFT. That was to make sure that my muscles were primed and activated. On about the 6th day out, I made sure to practice some sprint drag carries, but I did it with extremely light weight. It was really just going through the motions and just prepping myself physically and really more just mentally. Getting into the groove of the sprint drag carry, because you know, like when you're really just trying to bust through that thing, there's a lot of places where you could make a mistake. So I was just really practicing the motions of it. I made sure to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. There was actually a couple nights I made sure to get 9 hours of sleep for those entire 7 days. Sleep time is the best time for your body to recover itself, so you really have to take that seriously and be deliberate about your sleep. And then of course, I stretched after every single workout session, and I just stretched as often as I could. Even throughout the day, I would just stretch out whatever I could. Even if I was just sitting in a chair, I'd stretch out my legs, you know, I'd just stretch out my arms, just whatever I could to just stay loose, stay limber, stay stretched out. 3 days prior to the ACFT, this was a time where I really do think I made the most money for myself, right? What I did during these 3 days, I'm gonna maintain doing from now on before I take any ACFT. This is now a new gritty TTP for myself. Within the 3 days prior, that third day before the ACFT, I gave myself an ACFT and attempted to max every single event according to standard. That means I deliberately laid everything out. I went through all the times appropriately, held myself to a form standard. I gave myself the appropriate rest in between the events. The whole shebang. I did the entire test to standard on myself. And honestly, that day I maxed everything except for the ball throw. But I was close, okay? I had been practicing the ball throw for some time. I was really close, didn't let it bother me. I just kept moving on, maxed everything else but the ball throw, no big deal. The second day before the ACFT, I did the exact same thing. Only that time, honestly guys, I was under a condensed timeline, didn't have as much time that morning, so I just did everything back to back. I didn't really give myself any rest besides the amount of time it took me to go from the plank to the field to go do my run. But even though I did that, and it was the second day right after I had just done an ACFT the day prior, I maxed it that day, even the SPT. Even the dang ball throw I maxed. So that gave me the confidence and, to know that I had the ability, there was absolutely a chance, a possibility, and I had it within myself to max the ACFT on Monday. I took the ACFT on a Monday, by the way. And honestly, guys, I think that paid huge dividends for myself. I think just having that confidence going into the ACFT when it was time to take it for record, I just had an enormous amount of confidence and knew that I had it within me to make it happen. Last day before the ACFT, game day, that was a complete rest day for me. I didn't even leave my domicile that I'm residing at now. All right, never even left. Usually I go out on a long run on my Sundays, but not that day. All I did was I hydrated, I took some electrolytes, and I ate really well. And that leads me into getting into nutrition. Let's talk about nutrition for that entire week. I ate as clean as I possibly could. There was one day where I was with a buddy and I had a cheeseburger and fries, but that was like 3 days prior to the ACFT, so there's plenty of time to get that out of my system. But for the most part, that whole week, I ate as clean as I possibly could. Limited my alcohol. There was one night, same night with the burgers, where I did have a couple drinks. Okay, no big deal. Didn't go crazy, but I did have myself a couple drinks. But I made sure to even it out by having plenty of coconut water. Okay, I was drinking a shit ton of coconut water and even some electrolyte mixes. I was making sure to be plenty hydrated by the time it was time to take the ACFT for real. I focused on taking in more carbs than anything else, more carbs than I normally do, and I don't usually, stray away from carbs by any means, but I was really focused on a carb-heavy diet. Mostly clean carbs, right? So like rices, some whole grain breads, even some pasta. I did have some pasta, and a lot of fruit, tons of fruit, and a lot of food that were high in fiber because I knew that was just going to help me clear everything out. I wanted to be as light as I possibly could on game day. So I limited my fats, and I won't say I limited my proteins, but I didn't make a point to take in extra protein. I just made a point to take in extra carbs and a lot of fiber. Again, you don't want to be going into test day all full and bloated and feeling like you got to take a poop, right? So I had plenty of fiber. Everything was clearing out just fine. And by the time it came down to test day, I was light as a feather. So that's what I did the week prior. Now let's get into the game day itself, the actual test day, ACFT day. Like I said before, I made sure to get 8 hours of sleep the night before, and I woke up with an hour and a half for myself to get ready before the ACFT started, before it was time to report for the test. When I woke up, just kind of got ready, nice and easy, wasn't rushing out the door. I gave myself enough leave time so I wasn't rushing out the door. I made myself, this is something that I have always done even back in the APFD days, I made myself a fold-over peanut butter and jelly. That is my go-to pre-test day meal. And it always worked for me in the past during the APFT, and once they started implementing the ACFT, I just kept the same TTP, and it has worked just as well with the ACFT. A fold over with a nice serving of regular jelly, whatever you like for your jelly, and a big old scoop of crunchy peanut butter. Eat that probably roughly about an hour before the test. And I also drank roughly 12 ounces of coconut water. And if you don't have coconut water, I would recommend some sort of hydration mix, maybe a Gatorade, or even just water, 12 ounces of water. But you don't want to overdo it with the fluids, okay? Because you don't want to be going in there with bubble gut or heavier than you would be, because, I mean, you're taking in the liquids. You're just going to be heavier for that. And you're also going to have to go to the bathroom. So just take in about 12 ounces of a fluid. Try to use something that's going to hydrate you better than just water. But if that's all you have, water will work just fine. Now with me, I brought another 12 to 16 ounces of coconut water. Same rule applies with the hydration and the water and all that. Just make sure you have some sort of fluid with you. And I also brought a scoop of pre-workout. And I took my pre-workout 20 minutes before the clock started for our ACFT. Now, I'm just a guy that likes to take pre-workout. I'll even take pre-workout before my runs a lot of times. I know a lot of you guys think I'm crazy for doing that, so that might not be something that you necessarily want to do or need to do or whatever, but that's what I did, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing. You're also gonna wanna bring with you some sort of quick snack, like a goo gel, or one of those Stinger wafers, something that it will give you enough carbs that are quick absorbing and it's light. It's not going to sit heavy in your stomach. Bring that with you. When I got there and I was prepping myself to take the test, I did some light active stretching. Okay, I didn't go too crazy, but I was doing leg swings. I did a few squats. I did a few hand release push-ups just to loosen everything up. And I just went through maybe about 50 meters of some basic run drills. Okay, so just like butt kicks, high knees, skips, just enough to loosen up, but not enough where it's actually expelling like too much energy. You want to conserve all the energy you got. But I definitely warmed up. You don't want to go in there cold. You should definitely be warming up. Just don't go too hard. So that's how I prepared. Now let's go ahead and get into the individual events themselves. Now I do want to let you guys know, I do plan within the next few days to make individual videos in regard to each individual event so that I can give you the best tips and tricks and CTPs that I use to help you max each one of these events. So you can be on the lookout for those videos, but for now I'm just gonna sort of skim over it and let you guys know what I did during the entire ACFT here. All right, for the maximum deadlift, first things first, make sure you're wearing flat shoes. Don't go up there attempting to do a deadlift with your running shoes because you're just gonna make yourself even more shaky. You wanna have something that's super flat so you can really focus on the lift itself and not focus on your foot plant. I warmed up one time and I only did 3 reps. I did it with a 45 on each side. Okay, that's all I needed. I would recommend for you to do the same. I would only warm up as much as you really need to because you don't want to waste any extra energy. And that's because this is really, the first event, okay? I mean, not only do you not want to waste the energy for the MDL itself, but you want to conserve energy because you've got a lot more to go throughout the morning. Warmed up once, didn't waste any time. We threw all the rest of the weight on there and I just knocked out my 3 reps, got off the X. As soon as I got done with the MDL, I sipped a little bit of water. Just sip some water, don't take a big gulp. A nice sip or 2, that's all you need. Moved on to the standing power throw. Keep your flat shoes on, that's what I did, because you want to have a nice plant while you're out there doing your SPT. You get 1 practice throw and then you get 2 throws for record, right? Definitely use your practice throw and you should go all out on that practice throw because you need that confidence in you to know how far you're going to actually be able to throw that ball. Now, if you're able to max on the first one, then okay, I can easily replicate this, no big deal. Now, if you don't max it on the practice, which is probably what's going to happen to the majority of you guys watching this, right, which is what would normally happen to me too, then that's your chance to now fix yourself and make yourself better for when they actually are going to be recorded. Again, I'll make a separate video for this. I have officially cracked the code on the SPT, guys. I'm super excited about it. I feel confident in myself that I can max that thing every time now. And it's because I practiced the shit out of it for the last 3 weeks and I have just discovered some new things and I can't wait to share it with you, but for the sake of not wasting too much time on this video, I will make a separate video and you guys will get all those tips and tricks, I promise. Some quick tips though. For the SPT, you want to keep your feet planted, don't jump. You don't want to practice the swings like most of us would do before we finally swing. Don't do that. You get 1 shot. Tell yourself you got 1 shot. All the power that you have is going into that 1 throw, okay? Take a nice deep breath before you go down and launch. That's what I did. Max it twice in a row, no big deal. After that's done, sip water again, just a sip. All right, moving on to the hand release push-ups events. All right, so that's the time where you need to change into your running shoes. You want to do it now to give yourself enough time to adapt to the feeling of those shoes before it's time for the sprint drag carry. So do it before the HRPs. Now this event on test day for me almost got me, guys. Like, that's not normally the event that that would stop me from maxing the ACFT, but on this one, it was almost the hand release push-ups. Now I would advise when you do these, get used to doing it with your feet together. Try to get used to doing it with your feet together. It's gonna help you out. I'll explain that in another video, but that's what I did. Keep your feet together. And when they say go, don't start off too fast. Don't go crazy. You wanna keep a nice rhythmic motion that's setting the tone and setting a good pace that's gonna get you from 0 to whatever your max score needs to be. Now, what happened to me is I went crazy. I just started going super fast, trying to knock out as many as I possibly could in as short amount of time as possible, right? And as I was doing it, I was knocking them out. I mean, I was going quick, right? But I wasn't quite extending my arms all the way. The graders yelling at me during the time, and they were saying, hey, extend your arms. Extend your arms, extend your arms. Kept saying that over and over. I thought that they were talking about extend your arms, right? So I'm just sitting here going like this, and the whole time I'm like, thinking to myself like, bro, I cannot extend my arms any further. Like, what are you, like 49 of me right now? What is going on? I am going to like locking out my elbows full extension. It took me like 15 reps to realize they were talking about this extension. But once I realized, I was like, oh shit, guys, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about this. I'm going. And then I got on track and I was knocking them out okay. But you know, since I was knocking them out like that so fast and I was confused, and then I was, you know, spending so much energy focusing on trying to extend my arms, that I was really burnt out after that, you know, first like 20 reps of doing that. And so I struggled getting to that 59. I didn't get to the 59 and stop like it might look like on paper. That's not what happened. I was shaking at that 59, okay? So I just barely maxed that event because I wasn't doing them to standard, apparently, for the first maybe, you know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds or so, and they weren't counting all the reps. So, but that's okay. You know, I'm still glad I maxed it. I learned my lesson. I'm going to work on that, and I'm going to get better at keeping a solid pace and making sure that I'm doing the full range of motion. No big deal. Now, let's get into the sprint drag carry. You want to set everything up meticulously. Have everything set up exactly how you know you want it. Don't leave that to chance. Don't think it's not a big deal. Set up all the handles and shit exactly how you want it. When you start off, you should be going at 110%. Don't try to conserve anything. That's first sprint, 110%. Go as fast as you possibly can. And honestly, you're doing that for the entire event. That's my advice for you guys. You go 110% the entire time. When you come up to your drag, don't be looking behind you the entire time. It actually does slow you down when you do that. Just pull that thing as fast as you can and don't look back until you know you're almost to the end. When it comes time to the lateral, okay, this is not the time to take a breather. You should still be going quickly, and you should be taking long strides, almost like jumps even, to get through those laterals. When you're doing your carries, you grab the handles and you relax the shoulders. You're not going like this, shrugging the whole time. Let the shoulders just go completely loose, and you're just carrying those things as fast as you can with loose arms, really focusing on your foot plant, because the last thing you want to do is roll your ankle. So you're just getting from start to finish as fast as you possibly can, focusing on how your feet are hitting the ground, and that's how you're getting through it. And on that last sprint, you're going as fast as you can, 110% again. And again, I ended up with a 119. For me, I need to dial that back a little bit because I feel like I might have expelled a little bit too much energy during the SDC, and I felt that during my 2-mile run. But we got through both, no big deal. As soon as you're done with your SDC, that's when you take another sip of water and you eat your snack. That's gonna give you just enough time, roughly 20 minutes or so, to digest it and get you ready for the run. Now for the plank, I don't have a whole lot to tell you for the plank. I would say most of all, it's really just sucking it up for 3.5 minutes. But I would say, you know, don't try to game it. Keep good form the entire time, because the more you're wiggling around, you know, the harder it's gonna feel on you. Just try to keep a nice, solid plank, and maybe just sing a song to yourself that you know is 3.5 minutes long. Find a way to zone out as much as you can for that much time, because I know it sucks. I know it's a crappy event, but it's definitely doable. It's just 3.5 minutes of misery. I asked for 30-second time checks, so I wanted them to let me know every 30 seconds when it has passed, and that just kind of gave me an indicator of where I was during the plank event. And that's how I like to do it. I don't like to wait too long without somebody telling me that I have met a new benchmark. All right, last event, guys, 2 mile run is make or break right here. So again, you're gonna do some quick active stretching, nothing too strenuous, nothing too crazy, just you wanna shake everything out, especially after that SDC and that plank where I know your core is probably just on fire right now. So you want a nice stretch out the core a little bit, shake out the legs, shake out the arms, make sure you are nice and shaken up and loose before you get out there and start that 2 mile run. A huge tip I can give to you guys is make sure you have a watch on you or some way to pace yourself. That way you can set it and forget it. And what I mean by that is hopefully you've been training enough to know what the pace is that you need to maintain in order to make it for that time that you're shooting for. And in this case, I would hope it would be the max. And as long as you're just referencing your watch often enough as you're running and it's meeting that pace standard, then you know you're on track. You don't have to leave it to guesswork or anything like that. Now, the way I usually tackle the 2 mile run for the ACFT, and I did this for the APFT too, is I like to bank a little bit of extra mileage on the front end of the run. For me, it just works out that way. I like to give myself a head start and know that on the back end, if I'm really feeling crappy, I can slow down a little bit and I'll be just fine. So for this test, I started running at maybe like a 5:15 or 5:20 mile. And I know that's fast. I know you guys are like, holy shit, dude, that's way too fast. Yeah, I did that for like the first quarter mile. And then of course I start, I'm like, okay, that's way too fast. So I started slowing down and I brought it to like maybe a 6-minute mile, something like that, and just sort of cruised until I got to my last mile or so, and then I brought it to a 6:30, and then I just sort of jogged it in at the end, and that's how I ended up with my time of, what I get, 12:53. But because, of course you're all tired from doing all the other events, you're gonna end up running a little slower. It's gonna be more strenuous. It's gonna be harder to get through that 2 mile event. And so for me, I think it's also a mental game. That's why I like to bank the mileage, and that way I can give myself a little mental break on the back end to just know and guarantee myself that I'm doing just fine. I hope all that made sense. That's how I tackle it. Try your best not to feel bad for yourself during the run. Think of good things. Think of, man, if I'm able to get what I set out to achieve on this run, I can go eat whatever I want. I can drink whatever I want, guilt-free after this, because I know I performed to standard. I exceeded the standard in this case. You really want to give it your max effort, and I will leave it with this, is that if you're not puking or shitting yourself by the end of the 2 mile run, then you could have ran faster. So there's no one to blame but yourself. So remember that, try to live by that, and I think it's gonna help you with your time if you actually stick to it. All right, guys, that is how my ACFT went. Now I'm gonna leave you with some final notes, some final things to contemplate in the background as you consider how you're gonna go max your next ACFT. Overall themes for the test. What you wanna do is you wanna get in front and stay in front. What I mean by that is maintain your momentum for the entire test. Know for the first event of the ACFT, you're gonna max that bitch. Once you do that, maintain that momentum. Know in your head, okay, I maxed that, that is excellent. I am now going to max the next event, and so on and so forth. And you're just gonna keep doing that to maintain that momentum. That should help you get through the events, help you maintain your motivation, and motivation can get you through a lot of different things, okay? So get in front, stay in front, maintain your momentum. Take the ACFT often, okay? When you're out there training, administer it upon yourself so that you just get used to the motions. You get used to taking the test, and it doesn't seem like a threat on test day. If it's something that you've done a million times before, then why is it something you should worry about when it comes down to actually writing it down on paper? It's no big deal. It's gonna be a lot easier physically and mentally when it comes down to game day if you've already practiced it a million times. And the last note I'll have is that just remember, PT is not everything in the Army, okay? We can all say that. It's okay to say that. PT is not everything in the Army. But it sure is a lot, okay? You literally get paid, or at least for part of your job, is to stay physically fit. Honestly, we all know this. The better job you do with that job, the more opportunities that are going to be afforded to you for all sorts of things in your Army career. Going from training, schooling, promotions, you name it. You guys know what I'm talking about. PT is king in a lot of things, and it is the one thing, it's like one of the main things that you yourself have absolute control of and dictate, okay? So it would behoove you to do your very best at all times to be as fit as you possibly can, get out there, train hard, and crush this ACFT. because it's going to pay huge dividends for you and your career. So that's that, guys. I really do hope that was useful for you guys. I hope that was useful information. If I wasn't clear enough on anything, or if you have some additional questions, please, by all means, drop that into the comments. If you guys have some additional tips that you want to share with the group, please, by all means, drop that into the comments. All right, these videos are supposed to be useful for anybody that watches them, so the more information that we have, the better. Again, please do not forget to like and subscribe. It really does help me out and the channel out a lot when you guys do that. So, if you felt like this video was beneficial to you at all, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget, I'm going to be making some more videos for you guys that go over each individual event, okay? So you can be on the lookout for those. I'm pretty excited to make those for you guys. Besides that, guys, I've got nothing else for you. Keep making it your mission to exceed the standard, and I will see you on the next one.